in the timeline panel, in a sequence, there is a bar right here that you may or may not see color in. And so I just kind of want to tell you what the colors mean, and that's pretty obvious. It's a green, yellow, red, or nothing. So here we have two clips that are yellow. We have a clip that is red, and then we have a clip that is green. So what these mean are, if it's yellow, then Premiere is telling you that although it's not perfect, that there's some things that need to be rendered, and rendering just means sort of, I like to say it sort of cooks it so that it's appropriate for the video. So if you have a title over something or other graphic over something or special effects or whatever, rendering is basically the computer takes all that information and puts it together so that it works together, or it's at the right resolution and the right frame rate or whatever you need it to be. So it cooks it. So when you see yellow, Premiere is telling you, well, there's a few things that need to be done, but I think I can play it anyway in the preview mode. So to play, you can either push the play button or you can just push your space bar, and that toggles it on and off from the play mode. So I'm going to push it and it plays, and you can see it plays pretty smoothly. That's yellow. Now if I go up here, I've got one that's red. Now what I made this was yellow, but I added a special effect to it, and so when I see red, it's saying, yeah, it's that segment, that piece of video, because of what I want it to be done with it, is probably a little more complex that I might see when I play it back, depending on the power of my computer. I might see it stutter or act strange. Let's see what happens because, all right, this is the new. Now, it actually does not look too bad, although, whoops, see there, it kind of jerked around. That's what the red is telling us. So it's not probably going to play exactly right, and it needs to be rendered before we preview it. And then the yellow, the green just means this is good. This is actually a still shot. And this is what happens after you render something. The bar will turn green. Now, if you do want to render something, let's say we want to render this piece right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set in and outs on the timeline. And just so you know, if you hold down the shift key while you're moving your taskbar, it will jump to the nearest change edit spot, so between two clips. So there we go. So I'm going to put I for in, and then I'm going to move it to the next one and put out, and then I'm going to go up here under sequence, and I'm going to tell it to render effects in to out. So between the in and out points, it's going to go ahead and do that calculation. So let's see. You can also hit the return bar. The return key. So this might take minutes. I'm going to pause for a second. Alright, so we're jumping to the end of the rendering. It's going to finish rendering, and now watch the bar, what happens to the bar. It is now green, and now you can play it back and there's no stuttering. Now what that does do is it actually creates a separate video clip, a rendering clip, on your computer. So you don't want to do that too much unless you really need to see how something looks, because it just is going to clog up your computer. And even when you delete projects, those rendering files stay there, so you got to be careful. All right, so that's what that bar means.